Hey there, guys. It's 11:14 on Monday morning. It's good to be with you again. We're reading through the Gospel of Mark. Today, we're going to read Mark 5, verses 1 through 13. The actual story goes on through goes through verse 20, but we're cutting it in two pieces. First part is how Jesus casts a demon out of a person, and then the next part, what we'll get to tomorrow, verses 14 through 20, is how the people react. Okay, so let's go verses 1 through 8 first. All right. Um, they, Jesus and the disciples, went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain, for he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit," or "you demon," or you spirit. Um, this is some kind of demon, some kind of angel, fallen angel of Satan. Okay, so we see in our reading that there is a difference between God and Satan. We see in our reading that Jesus, he sees this crazed man with this demon in him, and we see that Jesus sees him worth saving, whereas Satan sees him as someone to use for his own pleasure. Okay, so Jesus loves the people. Satan uses the people. That's something we need to remember throughout our lives. That's how life goes. Now, we see in verse 1 that they go to the region of the Gerasenes. They go across the sea, which is into Gentile territory. We also see that the man who is possessed by this demon, we see that he's very strong. It says in verse 4, he had often been chained hand and foot. He tore the chains apart. He broke the irons on his feet. He's very strong because he has this demon in him. And Satan or his demons are strong. They're stronger than you and I. They're stronger than you and I, but they're not stronger than Jesus. So we see that Satan is strong, but Jesus is stronger. Now, again, we see them begging him. These demons, we've seen this before, that the demons beg Jesus not to do something. He kneels down before Jesus. He calls him the Son of the Most High, and the demons inside of him, or the demon says, "Don't torture me." See, they know who Jesus is. They know that Jesus has ultimately won the war. They know that they are ultimately doomed, but they also they ask for a stay of execution. Okay, he then commands them to come out. Let's finish this reading here. In verse 9, it says, "Then Jesus asked him, 'What is your name?'" That's going to be important here in a minute. "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." Yes, Legion was the biggest unit of the Roman army. So what this is telling us is there wasn't just one demon, there were many demons inside this man. And so the demon, he begged Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." And he gave them permission. And the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Okay, that's the end of our reading for today. Next week, we'll talk about how the people react to all this. But like I said, there wasn't just one demon, there were many demons. So this surely was a strong presence within this man. Okay. We find out that it's Jesus finds himself, and the disciples, they find themselves in an unclean place. There are three things that make the disciples unclean in this story. And unclean, by the way, in the Jewish, with the Jews, unclean would mean unacceptable to be with other people, or unacceptable to come before God. Okay, you were unclean. You had to go through a ritual cleansing to be clean again before you could come to the temple, before you could be around other people, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so they're unclean. There's three things that make them unclean. First of all, they're in Gentile territory. Jews didn't go and hang around with Gentiles, and if you did, you were unclean. Also, they came to this place, and this man came out of the tombs, which would be like a cemetery. So they're at a cemetery, a place where dead people would be. And in this time, they believed that the dead people, the spirits of the dead people, resided in this place. Being around dead people also made you unclean. And then finally, there's the pigs, the herd of pigs that were there. Pigs in Deuteronomy, God tells them that you do not eat of pigs because this is an unclean animal. Now, see, I always thought, I've always had this thing thinking that God was, you know, he was doing something. He was torturing the Jews. He was, what am I trying to say? Anyway, he was torturing the Jews because they couldn't eat pork. I think that's the best kind of food there is, if you ask me. But anyway, that's for another day, for another story. Um, anyway, the last thing is I wants to know is that when he sends or when they go into the pigs, okay, says the demons beg Jesus, send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them. Verse 13 is something I never really thought about and never reread closely till this day. Says he gave them permission. He gave them permission. He gave the demons permission to go into the pigs. He didn't send them into the pigs. He didn't order them to go into the pigs. He said, okay, go into the pigs. God permits evil to happen in this world of ours, but he doesn't make it happen. This shows Satan's intent, though. You see, if they went into the pigs, they were still doing harm to people. Jesus didn't say, okay, I want you to go do this so you can still harm the folks. But he shows that Satan's intent is to harass people, to destroy people, and this would have an effect on the economy, which we'll talk about next week. And so Jesus didn't create this problem that's going to come up, the pigs running off the cliff and dying. He allowed it to happen. What we can take from this is there is evil in this world. And Satan is stronger than us, but Jesus is stronger than Satan. And Jesus does have ultimate authority over Satan, but he allows him at this moment to rule, to work in our world. And again, all this comes from original sin, and from sin, we live in a sinful world. We live in a world that's fallen, and so these things happen. Satan has a time, and God's permitting this. He didn't create the bad things. It simply happens. And this kind of explains something about this COVID-19, this coronavirus that we're dealing with now, this pandemic. God is allowing it to happen. He didn't create it. A lot of people out there might be, coming up with this idea saying God created this to punish us for this or that. I don't know. But what we do know is God will ultimately win the battle. He will ultimately win the battle over this virus. He'll ultimately win the battle over Satan altogether. He'll win it both here and in the future. See, the fact is, Satan can still tempt us. He can still, through the evil in this world, can get at us. We may catch I may catch the coronavirus. My body may be hurt by this. My body, can even kill my mortal body, or do something that might kill my mortal body. But he can't touch my immortal soul. Jesus has won the war. Satan wins some battles here and there, but Jesus has won the war. God's got this, folks. He's got this. Be safe, and until next time, have a blessed day.